Good afternoon, everybody. Can you see my screen?
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody has a question?
So I have a question from assignment.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was doing my code, if like I'm taking a square cube root of 64,
Yeah.
then it is given 3.99. So should we round off that, or it should be printed as not integer value?
When you're trying to find the cube root of
64.
Yeah, it comes out to be 3.99.
Yes, sir.
That should not happen when you're talking about integers. If your initial assignment was integer, why will that happen? So this was the question. Let me go to the question. So this is your question. So we are asking the user to input an integer. Okay, let's start from there. So if I have not, I'm calling that as x. Okay, so if x is equal to integer input, please enter a positive integer. Okay, now what the question is asking you is to run a loop for I in range x. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Or instead of range x, let us make it as 1 comma x. Okay, because I want to go from 1 up till x minus 1. So this will do that.
Yes, sir.
So if what I star star 3 is equal to x, then I can say that print the cube root of x is I. Is that correct? So why should you get a non-integer value here? That is what we are checking. Let us say we do only this much. Okay, let us not check the other conditions. Let us do this much only. Okay, and try running it. Right, I enter your positive number 64. But the cube root of 64 is 4. This answer is not complete. Please understand that this will work fine as long as there is an integer available. Okay, otherwise it will not show an error.
So can I share my screen and show you my code?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sharing is disabled.
Can you share now? This is incorrect now. Why do you have to do this now? If n, no, go back. Go back to the top. Why do you have to write this line? Can you do something? View, go to view. No, not on your Jupyter assignment itself. Need under assignment 2 in the heading. View, file, edit, view. Toggle line numbers. Yeah. So in line number 7, why do you have to do this again? When you already know that I to the power 3 is equal to A. What is A? Oh, I to the power 3 is equal to N. Okay. And why do you have to do this again? X is equal to N to the power 1 by 3. Mela, I can't hear you. Are you speaking something?
Yes, actually, space bar is not working right now. That's all.
Yeah, please unmute yourself for the moment. Yeah. So can you tell me why did you do this again in line number 7? Why was this required now? When you already know that I to the power 3 is equal to N.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Once you reach line 7, you'll reach line 7 only during that once I to the power 3 is equal to N. So if you already know that I to the power 3 is equal to N, so I is your answer. Why do you have to do this again?
Okay, yes, sir. I understood that. But if we will take like if we have to take the cube root,
Yeah.
then it will not give the right integer value. 3 point. Right now I have rounded off it, so it is giving. Suppose we have to take integer value. I understood what you did. I did it wrong. But if I have to take like this, and I will enter 64, then it will give me this value. 3.99. So why it is not giving an integer value?
Because it got converted into okay, that is your question. Because it got converted when you did this, when you went to line 7 and you applied this particular equation, then it converted all of them, these numbers, into float. Okay.
So but for 5, if I will do the cube root of 5, like 125, then it is giving me right exact 5.
Yeah, that is fine. Because for some values, it is much more complicated for the computer to store it in binary form. So for example, look at what? Let me show you. Leave it now. Do you understand what your mistake was? Okay, then stop sharing. So this is not complete. This does not contain all the other conditions that you have to do, but this is the basic crux of your code. Okay, so let me do something. For I is equal to 1. No, for I in range 10. Okay. Sum is equal to 0. Sum is equal to sum plus 0.1. Okay. Print sum. Why does it do this?
It is adding 0.1 every time. 9 times it will add.
So what will be the answer? No, it is not adding 9 times. It is adding 10 times. It is adding 10 times. 10 times, not 9 times. Please understand that. The range 10 is 0 to 9.
Yes.
So it is adding 10 times. So
value should be 0.9.
No, why should it be 0.9? The sum is equal to sum plus 0.1 happens 10 times. So what should be the value?
1.
Huh?
1.
Yeah. Let me do this again. Print I It is happening 10 times, no? So the value should be 1. Is that all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But it is giving me what?
0 float, nearest float value.
Yeah, not necessarily the nearest float value. Although you could, if you write sum is equal to 1.0, it will write 1.0, but that is not an issue. But when it tries to add multiple numbers with an incorrect value, okay, it tries to add multiple numbers with an incorrect value, then it goes into there's an issue. So let me, can you see this screen now? Which screen are you seeing? The same screen or a different screen?
The same screen, Jupyter screen.
Okay, so let me. So how many bits are required to represent 0.1 in binary? Any idea? How many bits are required? Huh? How many bits are required to represent
bits for-
0.1?
So 4 bits total.
0.1
2
sure?
bits before. So 2 bit for 0 and for decimal after decimal. Infinite.
Infinite what? What infinite?
So not infinite.
If you remember the number of bits required to represent 0.1, how do we do the conversion? Let us do that. So what do? We start with 0.1. Okay, and this is my answer. Okay, I'm trying to write my answer. Okay, in binary. So what do? I multiply by 2 and do what? Whatever is my the number that comes after before the decimal, that goes into this point. Okay, so 0. So if you multiply by 2, what do you get? 0.2. What is the number before the decimal?
0.
0. Okay, so you get 0.2. Now you multiply by 2. What is the number before the decimal?
0.
0. So this is 0.4 multiplied by 2.
0.
0.8 multiplied by 2.
1.
1.6. So 1, and then we get rid of this. So we have one more 0 and 1. Okay, and now you multiply by 2. What do you get? You get 1.2. Again, you get rid of this 1, you make it 0.2. So 1. So you started, so you'll have this again, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You'll keep on repeating these values.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it will happen 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. So how many bits are required to accurately represent 0.1?
Infinite.
Infinite bits are required to represent very accurately represent 0.1 from decimal in binary. So when you add these numbers, okay, so when I'm adding 0.1 again and again, what am I doing? There is some error associated with the rounding off. Okay, there is some rounding off happening. Okay, you are obviously rounding it off to cutting it off or truncating. Okay, rounding off error, or you can also call this as truncation error. Okay, so either of these two things might be happening, so that is going to cause problems. So that is what is happening in your code. Okay, 0.4 cannot be accurately represented, or whatever intermediate numbers were required to calculate your square root, there was some problem there. Okay, so therefore we already discussed that previously, that you cannot represent real numbers accurately in programming languages. Okay, you can only make an approximation of the real numbers using float. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us try doing another problem. Okay. Let us try finding square root using iteration. Okay. So let us say I define a new number, okay, epsilon. Okay. So again, I just told you that you cannot completely accurately represent real numbers in programming language. So you always make approximations. Okay, so let us say I'm making an approximation within epsilon. Okay, and I'm defining my epsilon as 0.001. Let us say that. Okay, so my answer should be within 0.001, sorry, 0001 of my actual answer. Okay, that is my approximation that I'm making in this particular problem. Okay, now let us say my iteration variable is I is equal to 0. Okay, and while and what is my number? Again, I'm asking x is my number, and x is equal to int input number. Okay, here I did not want to do that anyway. So while I is less than n. Okay, or maybe more correctly, let us convert this into a float. Is this correct, Sanjeev? To convert a number to a float, is that all right?
Yes, sir.
So while I to the power 2 minus n what am I doing?
What is n?
Okay. Yeah, n is not defined here. I made a mistake. So let us say while true. Okay, we will break it somewhere. What is this going to do when I say while true? It is going to keep running the loop for infinity, and then unless we have break statement somewhere. Okay, so let me define that break statement inside. So what am I doing? I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, and what should I do? I should do something. If absolute value of x minus, what am I defining? My step size now? My step size. Okay, I'm slowly whatever I do, I'll start from 0. Okay, and I'll keep on adding a small increment in my small number epsilon squared, okay, to my actual number. What was my initial number? 0. Okay, I'll keep on adding epsilon squared to 0. Okay, multi into some product. Okay, so let us look at that. Let me write the code down, then maybe it will become clear. So let me make one more change. Okay, let us call this also as a float. Okay, so this is also a float. So minus I star epsilon to the power 2. Okay, what is this going to do? Then your print your square root is The absolute value of this is less than epsilon. Okay, print the square root of x is what? What should be the square root of x in that case? Any idea? I'm making a mistake somewhere. So what am I doing? I'm trying to add an epsilon squared every, let us, yeah, I made a mistake here. Star 2. So this. Okay.
It will take square of x only y square, right? In if statement.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So if you look at it, what am I doing? At every step, I'm adding I one to my I. Okay. So what am I doing here? My I will get multiplied by the square of the epsilon. Okay. So if so let us print the square root of y is I and print the number of iterations is what? What is going to be the number of iterations? How many iterations? I?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay? And then let us try running this. It is taking forever. Okay. So let me stop this interrupt. Let us do something. Let us reduce the value of it.
So how can we say y square root?
How can I say y is the square root? So what I am doing, it does not matter how I define y. Okay, it does not matter how I define y. Okay, in this case, I have defined y as I'm incrementing my value of I at every step by value 1. Okay, I'm incrementing 1. So the first value of I is going to be 1. The second
1.
value of I is going to be 2, and so on and so forth. And I'm multiplying that by epsilon squared. So epsilon squared is going to be, epsilon is 0.01. So epsilon squared is going to be what?
0.0001.
0.0001. Okay, so I'm adding at every step, at every iteration, I'm adding from 0, I'm adding 0.0001. Okay, and then what I'm doing, I am subtracting x minus y squared. Okay, so whenever I find a y which satisfies this condition that my absolute value of x minus y squared is less than epsilon, that means I have found a y which satisfies this particular equation within epsilon. Okay, what is the equation? Equation is x minus y squared. Y is your solution and x is your original number. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so y will be your solution. So in this case, you get the number of iterations required is 19,975. Okay, so the square root of 4 is 1.9975. Is that within the range of epsilon or no? What was the range of epsilon that we gave? 0.01. So it is within, is it within 0.01 of the final solution or not? Sridhar, is the answer given by the program, is it within 0.01 of the final solution or not? What is the final solution for square root of 4?
2 actually.
2. And is the answer given here within 0.01 of 2 or not?
Yes, sir.
It is. Okay. So did everybody understand what I did here? Or no?
But that if statement is there, na, sir.
Yeah.
Like we are taking x minus y square.
Yeah.
So x minus y square definitely will be greater than that epsilon, na, sir. Like x we are giving 4 minus that y square means.
Yeah. So the initial value of y. Let us also do something. Okay. So what is the initial value of y? Okay, let us do that. Is there a pause statement in Python, Sanjeev? Is there a pause or no?
I don't know about that.
Okay, so there is a sleep. Let us do that. Okay, so I'll show you. Time dot sleep. Let us run this. So the number that I'm giving, again, let us take 4. Okay, so what is the value of y? Look at the value of y. How is it changing? Can you see that?
No.
Initially, y was 0.001. So what am I comparing? I'm comparing x minus y squared. Okay. So if I find the what should be my first value of x minus y squared? What will be the first value of x minus y squared?
3.99.
Okay, so let us do that also. So x minus y to the power 2 is equal to x minus y. Okay, so let us try running this again. Let us do 4 again. So the value of y is initially 0.001, 0001. Okay, and x minus y squared is 3.99999 whatever. Okay, so what is happening? What is happening when you're moving further in y? When you're increasing the value of y slowly, x minus y squared is becoming
Constant.
no, not constant.
Decreasing.
It is becoming smaller and smaller. Okay, it is becoming smaller and smaller. Okay, and we are trying to find the place where x minus y squared becomes smaller than epsilon, which is the smallest error that is acceptable to you. Okay, so if you find that place, then isn't y going to be a solution or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is that all right, Sridhar?
Sir, no.
Huh? I don't understand. What are you saying? Can you repeat?
It is waiting for that condition to be satisfied. Like after all this.
So please understand that this while keeps on running. Okay, we are given while true. This means it will keep on running until unless a break statement comes or the time runs out. The time is not going to run out. We have any sufficient amount of time. So until unless break comes, it will keep on running. Okay. So what are we doing here? So if this condition gets satisfied, then I'm going to print this and a break statement is going to be seen. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is called as exhaustive enumeration. Okay, this technique is called as exhaustive enumeration. It is a very poor technique of solving, but sometimes it might be not really bad. So exhaustive enumeration. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are starting from 0. Okay, and we can keep adding a very small quantity to it, and we try finding the value of, and the new quantity is, let us call that as y. Okay, that small quantity we keep on adding to y. What do we get? And we keep on checking for whether y squared is close enough to x. Okay, how do I check that y squared is close enough to x? By using this. Did you understand this function ABS?
Absolute value.
Absolute value. Okay, so x, so if the quantity inside x minus y is this particular bracket, if it's negative, then also it will give a positive value. Okay, so let us do something. So if I interrupt, and let me remove this. I don't want to print all of that. Is it still running? Yeah. Okay, and you can use this particular library. Okay, if you want to find so Python execution time. So you could, so this is your starting. So you have to import a new library called time. Okay, so you import time and then start. So I'm defining a new variable called start time, and there is an inbuilt function within this particular library called time, which is time dot. So time dot stands for the first time stands for that we are calling this particular library, and time dot time is a function inside that library. Okay. So what is this going to give you? It will give you the starting time. Okay. Then finally, what do? We say print execution time is what? Time dot time minus start time. Let us see.
So comma after double.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you very much. So let us do this again. So the execution time is 6 seconds. Okay. Okay. So it took it 6 seconds to run. So do you understand this? What is happening here, Sridhar?
Sir, can you explain?
Yeah, we imported a library time. Okay. What is the function library? Usually some functions are not present inside Python inherently. Okay. You have to import some external functions. So this library contains a function called, this library time contains another function called time. So when I say time dot time, I mean that please call a function time inside the library time. Okay. Now when I say start underscore time, it is going to call this function inside the library time. And it, what is the role of this particular function? It tells the exact time at that particular location, that particular instance. Okay, so it will tell you the start time contains the time at which this particular line was called. Okay, now what do I do here? So this start time is not going to change now. Okay, start time has whatever the value was at that particular time has been stored in start time. Now what do I do here? I am doing time dot time again. Okay, so I'm calling the time function again. What is that going to give me? My current time. Okay, my current time minus the start time is going to give you what? The total time it took to run all these lines. Okay, so when my epsilon was 0.01, then the time taken is 1.66 seconds. Okay, and when I make it 0.001, then the time taken is what? Again, obviously it keeps on changing every time. You'll not get the same answer. Previously it was 6 seconds, now it is taking 3.35 seconds because it depends on many factors. This time again 3 seconds. Okay, so this is a basic way of calculating the time it took for your code to run. Okay, but the most important thing is that the number of iterations that this is taking is how much? How many iterations is it taking to get to your solution, to get the square root of 4? Okay, it is taking one.
19.
How many? 1,999,750 iterations. Okay, so this is not really a very good method. Okay, so what do? We try doing something that I initially explained was the old algorithm, the first algorithm that we talked about in this particular course when we started like a week ago. Okay, do you remember what the algorithm was? Finding the square root. Okay, so what do we do here? So let us look at the basic concept of that first. Okay, open this. There's a problem in my code. Can you tell me what the problem is? If you look at this particular situation, do you see any problem anywhere? In this case, oh, in this case, it's not a problem because what am I doing? I'm saying while true. Okay, so it's not going to be an issue in this case. Okay. In any case, if you do what? Let me do a new share. So if you have, okay, let us say you start from 0. Okay, and you want to find the square root of x. Okay, that is your goal. Okay, you want to find the square root of x. How do you do that? What we did just now was what? We started from a value close to 0. Okay, which was what? Epsilon squared. Epsilon squared. Okay, and so we call this as y. Okay, and we compared y, whether it is y squared is close to x or not. Okay, if it is not close to x, then what do? We move to
Forward.
2 epsilon squared. Then we move to 3 epsilon squared, and we keep on going. Okay, until we find a value of whatever epsilon squared, some n epsilon squared, such that y squared minus x is the absolute value of that is less than epsilon. Okay, so going through this is like going like a tortoise. Okay, slowly we are moving forward. Okay, but that's not really a very good way of doing this. Okay, what could we have done? Any other ideas that we could employ?
We could have initial guess some value.
So let us say that we start from here. Okay, and 0. Okay, so what is the initial guess? Let us say my initial guess is x over 2. Okay, let us say I guess that my answer is x over 2, and I compare what? I compare x with, let us call this as my initial guess, x y. So I compare x and y squared. Okay, I compare x and y squared. If so, in what range will my answer be? Let us, if x is less than y squared, then what is my range going to be for my solution? If let us say x is less than y squared, then what is my range going to be for my solution? Sridhar, any idea? If let us say
0 to x by 2.
0 to y.
0
0
to x by 2.
Yeah, 0 to x by 2 in this particular result, but 0 to y. Okay, so my solution is going to be between 0 and y if x is less than y by 2, y squared, sorry. And if x is greater than y squared, what does that mean?
Y to x.
The solution is going to be between y
By 2x.
y to x. Okay, so the goal here is to try to find try to keep on finding these start and end points. So this is initially my start and end is this. Okay, now once going through this whole exercise, we'll find that what will be my start and end, my new start and end. Let us say in this particular case, if x is equal to 4, for example here, then what is y x by 2 going? यार इसमें तो match कर जाएगा immediately.
Exact value.
Yeah, so let us say x is 9. Okay, let us say that. Okay, so what is x by 2 going to be?
0.5.
What?
0.5.
0.5?
4.5.
4.5.
4.5. So x by 2 is going to be 4.5. Okay, and we see that y squared, so y is equal to this. We will find that y squared is what? Is larger than x.
Yes, sir.
So what is my start and end going to be now? So that means my solution is going to be somewhere between this and this value. Okay, so my start is going to be 0 now, and what will be my end?
X by 2.
End is going to be 4.5. Okay, now this becomes my region of search. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Now my new guess is going to be what?
By 2.
Whatever.
Mid-value.
Yeah, y by z, this start plus end divided by 2, the average value of start and end. Okay, that becomes your new starting point. Okay, let us do that. What is that going to be in this case? It is going to be 2.25. Okay, we will see that this squared is less than what? This squared is less than 9. So that means the solution is going to be somewhere between. We already, so from the previous case we found that the upper bound for your solution is x by 2. Okay, and you now found that the lower bound for your solution is what? X by 4.
2.25.
Okay, it is x by 4. So we keep on doing this. We keep on doing this until we find that x minus y squared absolute value is less than whatever epsilon, your precision that you want. Okay, whatever error is acceptable to you, you will keep on doing it until you do that. Okay, so let us try understanding what your what the algorithm is. Let us try modifying the previous example. Okay, so let us do that. So let me copy. Okay, so let us say we use the same epsilon 0.01, I is equal to 0.0. Now I is not required. Do we need I anymore? We don't need I. Let us define new. Okay, delete this. So my start is going to be what? 0.0. Okay, and what is my end going to be initially?
X.
Nine.
X.
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 Okay,
X.
and is equal to X. Okay, first I'm trying to find between 0 and X. Okay, so let us define I again, but I'll define I differently. I is equal to 0. Okay, I'll not define it as what as an float, but as an integer. Okay, because I don't really need to multiply this. I'm just using this for counting. Okay, now I don't need this, but I'll define it differently. Let us call this as y is equal to what? Start plus end
By 2.
divided by 2. Okay, I'm taking the average of the two start and end. Okay, let me make it 2.0. Okay, explicitly make it float. Now what do I need to do? If x minus y squared is less than epsilon, that means my solution has been found. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, else let us do else if what I need to just check for what if my y to the power 2
Square
y
is less.
squared
It's less.
is less than x. Okay, or yeah, that is good enough. Okay, else if y squared is less than x, that means what should I do?
N is equal.
Y we would calculate.
Y squared is less than x. That means that my
Y.
end hold on a minute.
Start.
If y squared is less than x, that means that my solution will be somewhere between y and x,
Yes, yes.
isn't
So
it?
the start will become y.
So we have to increase the value of start. Is that all right?
Yes.
We want to make big y bigger. Okay, how do we make y bigger? By making start bigger. Is that all right? So if you
Yes,
look at this, what are we doing? We are saying that y squared is smaller than x. That means that the initial guess of y, now the guess of y is not large enough. If I want to make it larger, how do I do that? I either increase start or I increase end. I cannot change end now. I cannot increase end. End can only be made smaller and start can only be made bigger. Okay, so what do? You increase your start to what value?
Y.
So start has been increased to y now. Okay, so we'll make start is equal to y. Okay, and else you do what? Else
And
end
it's equal to
is
Y.
equal to y. Okay, let us try running this. Do the same thing. Obviously. I get my problem. Okay, there's a problem here. What is the problem? I want to define this over here. Okay, do you get why I'm doing that now? I'm taking the input after the start, before the start time. Okay, why am I doing that? Because then the execution time was dependent on when you put the input value as. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so because execution time does not care whether the user is waiting or, so that's why I put the user input before the starting of start time. So let us run this again. So if I do 4, so my execution time is 1.41. Okay, try running again. So in this case, execution time is not changing much. Is that all right? It should not.
yes, sir.
It should not change that much from 3 to 6 seconds. So that was just my delay in entering the input. Okay, so let me do this again here also. DD. Okay, I'm taking the input value first. So 4 is not a good. Let me do 9 here. Okay, let us try running and put it 3. Okay, how long does it take? So it takes to time is not important. The number of iterations is 1,731,000. Okay, what about in this case? Let me run this and enter 3. Is the answer correct? The square root of 3 is 1.732.
1.732. Yes, sir.
Okay, and the number of iterations is how much?
12.
Well,
12. And then the execution time, compare the two execution times. In one case it is 1.248 seconds, in the other case it is 99 milliseconds. No, not 99 milliseconds, sorry, 0.99 milliseconds. Is that correct? 1 millisecond approximately. Okay, so we have made it so much faster by using the correct algorithm. So algorithm is really important. Okay, to choose the right algorithm for a, so you should spend as much time as possible, means obviously within reason, to try to come up with a better algorithm, as long as it depends on what your goal is. Okay, for example, if you are doing if you want to find the square root once, okay, then it does not make too much sense to spend time on optimizing your algorithm very much. Okay, but if you want to run it every, let us say, half an hour or something like that, then also maybe it does not make a sense. But if you want to do it every second, okay, let us say you have some code where it has to be calculated again and again and again and again, then it might make sense to come up with a better algorithm for it depends on what your goal is, depends on how much the value of human time and the value of computer time is important for that particular application. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I already showed you the example of failure of float. Now let us try to do another this again, okay, but using a different method, which is Newton-Raphson. Okay, Newton-Raphson is a very commonly used technique for finding the minima of functions, but in this case we are going to find the square root or the root of function. Okay, so in this case, so what Newton-Raphson says, where is my, yeah, is Newton-Raphson. Okay, both of them came with this algorithm at almost the same time. So if, let us say that x0 is your initial guess for the solution for a particular problem, okay, assuming that x0 is the initial guess for your solution. Okay, so if you are given a function in x, okay, let us say fx is equal, you want to find the roots of this function fx. Okay,
So
and x, oh,
it's
hold
not.
on, yeah. Now I remember. Yeah, can you see it?
yes, sir.
Okay, so if x0 is the initial guess for the solution to this particular equation, okay, you want to find the roots of this equation, roots of this function f(x), and x0 is your initial guess, then Newton-Raphson says, we'll not go into the mathematics of this, but Newton-Raphson technique says that x0 minus is a better estimate. Okay, so if this is your initial guess, this is better. Okay, maybe we'll do this in our linear algebra course, how to derive this, but that is the basic concept of this Newton-Raphson. Now, assuming that this is true, okay, let us forget about how we come up with this. Assuming that this is true, try solving this, the previous equation. So what is your equation in this case? So I am changing the definitions a little bit. Okay, so let us call this as x squared minus y is equal to 0. Okay, so this is your equation. Is that all right? So what will be fx? fx0. fx0 क्या होगा? Will be x0 squared minus y squared.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in this case, y is your constant, or let me not choose y, let us call this as c. Okay, I'm trying to find the c, sorry, x, which is a square root of c. Okay, that is my goal. Okay, so it will be x0 squared minus c. Is that all right? And what is going to be f prime x0? The derivative of f
2x0.
2x naught.
2x.
2x0. Okay, so what will be my new guess? My new guess is going to be what?
x0 by 2.
It is going to be x0 minus x0 squared minus c divided by 2x0. Okay, so that gives me 2x0 in the denominator, then 2x0 squared minus x0 squared plus c. Is that all right? So your new guess is going to be x squared, x0 squared plus c divided by 2x0. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So let us try doing this there. Where is my, yeah. So let us start with this again. So 21yy. Now let us, what do I do? I don't need
Change
this.
the if else value.
I don't need this any longer. Don't need this any longer. So let us say my initial guess. What is my initial guess? Let us use the same notation as we were using there. Let us change this to C. Okay, I'll change that to C. So what is my initial guess? Let us start with C by 2. C by 2 is not a really bad guess. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So so let us call that as x. x0 is equal to
C by 2.
C by 2.0. Okay. Now what do I do? If c minus x squared, if c minus x squared is less than epsilon, then my square root of c is, let me change that, x0. Okay, is that all right?
Yes.
Okay, c minus x squared is less than epsilon, then it's not an issue. Otherwise, what should you do? Otherwise, what should you do?
New guess.
What is the new guess? x0 is equal to what?
x0 square minus c by 2 x0.
X x0 to the power 2 minus c divided by, what is it?
2 into
Plus c.
x0.
Sorry, x0 squared plus c divided by 2x0. It's not minus c, plus c. And I also specifically make it float and divided by 2x0.
2 x0.
Yeah. 2 star. Huh? So let us do this again. What is my number? Is 3. Number of iterations required. Is it magic?
Yes, sir.
Do you see that, Shidhar?
Sir.
Any issues?
Sir,
Shidhar?
execution time has increased.
Time increase.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Let me show you that also. Okay, well, here really, let us make it this as how many iterations?
10.
10. Execution time is 0. Anyway, I don't think you can compare the execution time when they are so small. Okay. But let us do this here as well. Is the execution time longer here?
Yes.
Not visible.
Yeah, it is running, still running. Still running. Still running. So probably into minutes. Okay. Once it stops, we'll see it. Oh, ये तो original वाला था. So this is a stupid idea. This is the exhaustive enumeration. It is going to take forever.
Yes, sir.
I made a mistake there. I wanted to do this over here, not there. 5,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So number of iterations is 28. Well, let us give an even bigger number. Again, it is not really taking any long time. What is this? 50,000 or 500,000? This is 500. 500,000. The number of iterations is again execution time is 0, almost instantaneous. Okay. So in this case, you can think of execution time approximately equal to the number of iterations because calculations are pretty similar. Okay.
Sir?
Yeah.
Like, can we say like if there are more number of iterations means like accuracy will be more like that?
No,
Like,
no, not necessarily true. Accuracy will depend on what the value of epsilon is, how you're defining your problem. So the accuracy, we can increase the accuracy by increasing the value of epsilon. If I do this, let us say, what was it? 3. So 1.7305. Okay, in this case, 0, 3. So epsilon, that will depend on the accuracy which you are. Let me increase the epsilon even further, and let us see how long does it take. So it is, I increased the epsilon quite a lot. Okay, I made it 10 to the power, how much? -6. Okay, so in your calculators or whatever you have, what is the value of cube root of 3? Is that correct up to 10 to the power -6 or not? I don't know. So accuracy will depend on what the value of your epsilon is. It has nothing to do with the number of iterations. Okay. Is that all right or no? Sridhar?
yes, sir. No,
Yeah. Actually, if you have heard anything about machine learning, then their accuracy depends on iterations because it is a complicated situation. We'll probably discuss it later on. Okay. But in this case, it depends on your algorithm. Okay. And how you're defining various things. Okay. So let us take a break.